Shots have been fired, an allegation was made. We want to talk about what's going on with this business. And I'm sharing my thoughts and I'm sharing what it is. You are free to go and verify yourself to be the truth. I am not making any statement of affirmative facts, so don't come at me over what I'm sharing. I'm sharing what I see that you can read yourself, and I'm sharing my thoughts. I'm making no statement of anything because I don't know. I'm a messenger. So on Thursday, there was a message went around that was, I don't know exactly where it came from. I think it was from Snack, the Victor Conti thing. I think it was. A message was going around and it talked about the events that were happening here over the next couple of weeks. And it made a statement that Kavaliauskas, the guy who two-pieced, wobbled, and dropped Terrence Crawford, who gave Virgil Ortiz the business, Kavaliauskas meme machine, was going to be coming back on a PBC event in June. So then people are starting to speculate, okay, is Kavaliauskas PBC? Didn't seem like he was. Well, PBC, okay, who can he fight in PBC? This got people thinking, is he about to fight Jaron Ennis? Steve Kim, shortly after this post, responded and says, quote, I'm told Boots' team rejected that fight. This now started a lot of people down the road that they believe that Ennis ducked Kavaliauskas, or as you want to put it, ducked Virgil Ortiz's leftovers. I'm giving direct statement quotes here of what they're saying. I'm not whatever. And then there was theories that perhaps they might have rejected the fight because of what my coverage I did, go back in the archives where I talked about Boots getting taken the full distance by Karan Chikagian. And I said, it don't look good that you got taken the distance. You were following the guy around. It doesn't matter that you got a wash on the cards. The point is you visually didn't look good. And if that were Spence in there instead of Chikagian, you probably got knocked out. So theories now say, well, maybe they held back on that fight, Kavaliauskas, because Kavaliauskas is a dangerous puncher. And he's able to catch you no matter how fast you are. Go ask Terrence Crawford. Here's my thoughts on this. Do I think that Boots ducked, Kavaliauskas? No. Do I think that they're being a little bit more cautious about the fights they take? Yes. Do I think that they may be actually in the gym working on the shit that I said they should? Let's hope so. Do I think that Boots is afraid of anybody? No. Do I think that Boots will come back and fight somebody that's of caliber? No. And that's not his fault. It feels like right now with Boots Ennis, they're kind of in this weird spot, right? Because you came off Karan Chikagian. If it were me, like advising him, I'd have told him to run that back and get a knockout. Just to prove that what you saw, you were able to fix the flaws and recoup and get it back. But there's no monetary value in rematching Karan Chikagian, let's be honest there. So then where does that leave us? Well, there's guys like Blair the Flair Cobbs. He doesn't have an opponent. I'd love to see that fight because Blair the Flair Cobbs, he needs to rebuild. And so you got two guys that need to rebuild reputations off of lackluster performances. And you got two guys, Blair, he's going to sell the fight. Boots can't sell the shit, but Blair's going to sell the fight. So it's going to be an interesting to watch fight, perhaps an undercard fight, but that's one to watch. Was supposed to see if we could get Virgil Ortiz to fight Stankonia, Imanis Stanionis. That didn't happen because Virgil Ortiz got ill. So then where you left? You got Keith, Once Upon a Time Thurman. He's talking about maybe 154. We don't know what's happening there. Spence is on the sidelines because he's trying to get Crawford to stop ducking him. There's that. So 147, as I said in my update about Tank, 147 is the dead one now because we used to have kind of the four kings of boxing, right? We had Sean Porter, we had Danny Swift Garcia, we had Errol Spence, and Keith Thurman at one point. And then Danny Swift seemed to die off a little bit. Jordanius Ugas steps up. Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman takes an L to Manny. Jeff Horn had his time in the light for a minute. We had a pretty exciting 147, and then it's dead now. So I honestly do not believe that Boots is actively ducking anybody, but I do believe that they're perhaps being a little bit more cautious about the fights they take, as in, we got to think this through. Either we got to match better, maybe, or we got to get back in the gym and work on these flaws and then decide if we want to rematch Karen and run that back and just prove that we can get him out of there and it was a fluke, which is what I'm serious. I would advise that. I would advise, because that's going to give him momentum back. That's going to give him back strong momentum to say, no, that was a fluke. We worked it. We fixed it. Because again, if he was able to fix those flaws, I do think he could be this amazing boxer everybody thinks he is. But those flaws are glaring. And if he were in there against somebody caliber, he'd have got sparked out. I believe that. So I don't know what's happening with his team. I have no inside information. I don't think Steve Kim has true inside information. I think somebody talked to somebody who talked to somebody who gave him this message, and the message may be getting misinterpreted, but they might have rejected it as it's not the fight we want. I don't think it's ducking. I think that they're being smarter about who they want to fight, when they want to fight them. And I think fans out there, I don't want to call them marks, because I do think this is one where people truly want Boots to step up challenges, because he hasn't done so far. But I do think it's one where people are just wanting him to fight a threat, as do I. For me, though, watching what happened against Karan Chikagian tells me that, yes, while I do want to see him fight a threat, I acknowledge he's got shit to work on. And I would rather see that he was able to work on and solve those things before he gets in there with somebody who can knock him the heck out and kill his momentum, because that's what happened with Blair Cobbs, let's be honest. So to me, I don't see, in summary, that Boots is ducking anybody, but I do think that they're being smarter about who they match him with, and that's a good thing, because he could be something, but we got to be a little bit more careful now and give him time to work on the flaws and the glaring ones at that. Give him time to work on it and get back. And then I know people are going to come at me. Here's the thing. There are some people, all they care about is, well, it's 12-0. It's not just about the score. This is not even talking about me or fans or none of that. I'm talking in the business of boxing. The visual is what sells fights. The visual is what does it. It's not even whether you win, lose. Because think of guys like Marquez, right? Juan Manuel Marquez. It's not about whether you won or lost. It's the visual of performance. Are you able to perform in a way that's going to draw fans and keep them there? And is there something that's going to get them in the fucking building? Floyd Mayweather got people in the building in the early stages of his career because he was visually impressive. I'm talking Pretty Boy. He was visually impressive every time out, even though Larry Merchant and others were hating on the man. Later then, when money becomes money, then it became they're dialing in because they want to see this guy lose. They can't stand his braggadocious. They can't stand his outward appearance at the time. He was flashy, he was fun. They can't stand none of this, so they want to see this guy lose. They want to see him take an L. They didn't care if it was knockout or decision. They just want to see him lose. So Floyd Mayweather turned this into a career. Early stage, he's impressing and arguably taking risks, as in he goes out and he's willing to not slug, but he's willing to go toe-to-toe. He was fighting in phone booths. He was doing the whole nine. When he became money, it was after hand injuries, starting with arguably the Charmaine Mitchell fight, where he had to switch his style to something that was a little bit more in the hit and not get hit mode. He certainly was hit and not get hit early, but he was willing to take some hits if it got him off early. Later, he's less of this because he knows he could damage his hand and then put himself in a spot. And he was still winning fights, but nowhere near what he was before. But the point is, he turned that into a gimmick. He turned the gimmick of, now that I am this, I see people are dialing in just see me lose. So I'm going to fight people that certain countries, they're backing their fighter to see him lose. Like if you think about Canelo, the whole freaking country Mexico was behind Canelo beating Floyd Mayweather. That's why it drew so much damn money. With Pacquiao, same thing. The Philippines and then half the haters in the United States and worldwide, they all wanted somebody to beat Floyd Mayweather. And for years, that was theorized to be this guy or this guy or this guy. And it didn't matter. He took him out. That's where Floyd was. Well, with Boots, all he has right now is the flashy early on against lesser guys, lesser opposition. He hasn't stepped up to somebody who had a strong probability of beating him. But even in the fights where he's won, he's gotten hit on the chin. But that's why I said he takes punches with his face, which he shouldn't do. With Karan Chikagian, he was getting circled. He was getting pushed not pushed, but forced in the middle of the ring because he was chasing around. Visually, it doesn't look impressive. Visually, got to look impressive. If he had fought Kavaliauskas is the kind of fighter that sets traps, as you saw with Terrence Crawford. He puts you where he wants you, and then he waits and he lands a bomb. That's what he did with Virgil Ortiz. That's what he did with Crawford. That would have made Boots look horrible because Boots is open for those shots. Crawford at least tries to deflect. He just couldn't catch it in time and then got wobbled and dropped off the two-piece. But with Boots, he doesn't even actively try to defend that. So if you were to put him in there like that, even if Boots did get the win, it wouldn't have looked visually impressive. That's why I suspect his team is really trying to match him to where he looks impressive against guys. That's my point. If that's the case, Kavaliauskas would have been a horrible style matchup from my eyes, at least. But for fans, you want to see somebody, and the reason why is because you want to see him step up and take a chance and take a risk. But let's be honest. Some of you, like on NSB, you would say if he did, let's say he did take an L. Let's say he fought Kavaliauskas, took an L. You would turn on him. You'd say, okay, he's a bum. He's not that good. You turn on him off one loss. The fighters know that. The promoters know that. They know that fans are fickle and they don't support guys that take an L. Even though Canelo, let's be honest, has losses, he still has support. Many fighters have losses, they still have support. It's not about the loss. It's how you lost, number one. Two, how you bounce back. Three, the visual of the performance. Did you go out on your shield? Did you try? Deontay Wilder got more fans after he got knocked out by Tyson Fury than he had before because he tried. And the visual was this dude he literally is backing up what he said. He's willing to die in there because he was swinging for the fences to the last minute. That third fight is what we wanted to see to prove, okay, are you serious when you say you're willing to die for this? And that's exactly what he was. So when he talks about body on the record, he doesn't just mean I want to actively kill. He's like, kill or be killed. And I'm going to prove it myself. I don't mind if I die in the ring. This is what I love doing. No other fighters that today is that willing to go out. You just saw it happen with Ryan Garcia. So all I'm saying here is you can feel like Boots duck Kavaliauskas if that's what you feel. I don't think it's a duck. I think it's strategy. I think they understand Boots got work to do. And I think they're trying to match him with somebody where he can come back and look impressive again to get back on that momentum that he did lose looking lackluster against Chikasian, which is why if I were advising, I would have said, maybe we should run this Chikasian back and get the dude out of there, spark him out to prove it was just a fluke and we worked on the flaws. I'm not in the management team, so we'll see what it is. I don't think Boots is ducking. I think Boots is being positioned and possibly will rebuild back stronger. And I do think we need to find a good opponent for him because 147 is starting to look a little bit dry in the desert.